Thanks for tuning in, everyone. What we're gonna make for this back to school craft is denim pocket notebooks. Now, I did this when I was in school. I thought it was really cool because you could carry your pencils, your pens, scissors, whatever you need for class. So this is the one that I had already made before recording my other one. So you can do embellishments with the fabric, you can use patches. This is a type of tape that I used, and of course a working pocket that you can put stuff in, and buttons. And that way you can add your own pizzazz to you want. And then the one that we made in the video is gonna be this military style. So I used 2 different types of jean material and used other patches with it and used some more washi tape. And these are all functional notebooks that you can use and on the cool side, and then you can use it for whatever you like. And you don't have to use certain types of jeans. You can use stretchy material. You can use any color, shape, size pocket. As you can tell, I use 2 different types of pockets. So it gives you a different style and a different flair for what you like. So we're going to jump in and I am going to show you how to make one of these cool notebooks that you can make your own. Okay. So when you do a denim pocket notebook, you can use any type of notebook that you like. I prefer the 5-star plastic ones just because it's easier with the material, that when we use the hot glue gun, that it's gonna stay a little bit better and you can flatten it so it's not as bumpy. I have this dark green and I have this camo color too. So I'm gonna try and fuse the 2 together, and I even found these old school patches at a resale shop. So I'm gonna try to incorporate these as well. So when you do this, sometimes it's easier, so if I just wanted to use the camo, to lay it out over the notebook and then cut kind of close around the edge of the notebook and then super glue it down, and then you can always trim the excess. But if you're gonna do some sort of paneling or type of different pattern or layout with it, you do kind of have to cut up the material just to see what you like. So what I'm gonna do is trim up my pocket. So this is the pocket that I have for the army green material. So where this line is, this is where the pocket ends. So any old pockets that you have to, you can trim up however you like. So I'm just gonna cut up the excess. That way it's a cleaner pocket. That way I'm using it to outline, as you guys can see, so I can figure out where I want it. And since it's such a big pocket, it's gonna take up the majority of my notebook, unless you have other pockets at home that are a lot smaller. That could probably be like this big. You could put it in the corner, you could put it up here in the center, but I'm probably gonna drag mine and put it into this bottom corner. That way I can use my chevrons and actually incorporate it. Or you can always glue them to the pocket itself, so it's up to you. So now I am going to actually start cutting the materials. You wanna make sure that your line's sort of relatively straight. If not, it's gonna look really wonky, and you won't be able to actually open up your notebook. So mine's actually first try pretty good, and I'm okay with having a little bit of the black exposure on the back side of my notebook. So always make sure which color is what you like, or else it might not be what you want it to be. So you can always move it around too. I'm not quite sure which one I like better. I could go solid green on green and then put my insignias on my pocket, my eagle here. Or what I could always do is keep the pocket where it is, and what I'll do, see about maybe layering some camo and putting the pocket here. That looks pretty cool. So I think what my inspiration now will be is to make it almost like a quarter of camo, and then the rest would be like this. It'll have the pocket on it. And then maybe I can do something cool to cover up the glue line. So where these 2 put together, you could put ribbon, you could put buttons. I am going to cut my camo material first, so it's a little bit straighter, and then I'll glue this part over top of the green. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is take this material, because if you glue your base piece to the cover and then have another material glued on top of it, it can fall apart. So I find what works better is actually gluing in segments. And it is okay where these binder holes are to cover it up. Unless you are actually going to put this notebook in a binder, you could always take a screwdriver. There's so many things you could try to use to puncture a hole punch. That way you can actually keep that material from not getting ruined or falling off. So you can always do that. And all I'm gonna do now is I have my extra piece here. I'm gonna actually get my hot glue gun and start gluing from the spiral side outward, because with this piece from our craft that we had done ages ago at the library, it's really good at helping flatten out the hot glue, because once you put it under the material, it can glob. So when you put it on top and then push it outward, so you're going to push it in the opposite direction where you put the glue on the corner, that way it keeps it even and flat, and it spreads out more so it has a better hold. And something that you can't see, but you will be able to feel when you make your own notebook, is that when you start pressing down that glue, it's quite smooth. So that's how you know you're doing it right. And you're being pretty fast, because if not, then you can actually feel the squiggles of where you put your glue down, which is fine. It's not going to hurt anything, but if you want it to have a smoother surface texture, then you'll do that. And then I'm going to keep continuing on. What you want to do too is make sure that the material is even just when you're pressing down too, because you could fold it over and then you have this awkward fold that you really didn't want to begin with. But if you do, awesome. If you don't, okay, now everything's been glued up. So now what I'm gonna do, because you can't really see the edge of the notebook here, I'm gonna flip this first plastic part. So that way you can actually see where it ends. And the good part about this being plastic versus paper is that if you cut it, it's gonna take quite a bit for you to actually cut through. And so I'm gonna flip it, and then I'm gonna just take my scissors and just cut along the edge, just like that. Oop. And it does help if you are gonna try to put the tape down, because since it is tape, this is pretty great. So all you have to do then is get your starting point, peel back, put your glue, and then you can continue on. And then the pocket, which looks so cute. And since I did not put any tape here on the other ends, I am going to take this, and I'm actually going to do a little bit differently than what I've been showing you guys. Instead of putting it directly on the notebook, I'm going to use this line here and put the hot glue. That way I can line it up exactly to that corner. And an important thing with your pocket is when you are gluing the hot glue, it can get through the fabric. So I just use a piece of cardboard and just stick it in the pocket. That way you can press on it without the two sides of the pocket closing up. And if you don't want to use the cardboard, you can just use your hand and make sure nothing's stuck together. But it could be hot and you could burn your hand. So that's just a forewarning. And bam, this pocket is done. We have a little bit of embellishment with the tape. The pocket's functional, and it's all glued down, so all you have to do is put whatever you need for class, ruler, protractor, pencil, pen, you're good to go. But the final touch, which is going to give it a little bit more, I'm going to put the eagle up here at the top. I'm going to put the chevrons on my pocket because it just looks like it needs a little bit of patriotism. And then I'm just going to put the glue on the actual back side of this patch. A little bit on and make sure to see if he actually stays in one go, because if he does, and if you can't flip it on the back to put a little bit of more glue, then maybe try super glue. All right. I'm going to get in the shot a little bit to make sure that my eagle is even, so he's not flying around. I'm just pressing them down all together. So this little wing, I'll put some glue here when we're done after it's dried a little, and I'll do the chevrons. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to actually put it on the back of the patch. And then I'm going to do the other patch a little bit lower. Okay, and now this notebook is done. It's functional. You can actually open it up, keep your notes, and you're good to go for whatever you're trying to achieve with your notebook.